Hello, my friends. Hope y'all are doing well. Got a little time here to knock out one more of these. I've got a back order of several things going on. And this is my Windy Hill Foundry squares, by the way. And I got behind on them. It's really hard for one person to do all this, guys. I'm telling you. It can be challenging. It stays challenging. What am I talking about? I'm using thos wax process for one item that we're working on for the for hanger 13. And anyway, my super fine sand that I use for that process is in a barrel that I use for a workbench. So I have to, every time I take the lid off to get to that sand, everything's 180 degrees off from where I need it. So I'm trying to get that all rearranged. It's kind of hard to juggle everything. And speaking of which, where did I put my finest sealing sand? Don't tell me I left it in the barrel. And I did. I haven't had a chance to show you what is happening here at Windy Hill Foundry, and I will do an exclusive video on that coming up. I'm thinking I'm going to wait until everything's finished and then show everything in a compilation in one video, which is going to be hard for me to do, keeping the videos in archive until it's ready to spring them. But we got so much going on here. And on top of that, I'm referring to the construction. I'm getting my finest facing sand down on the squares. We always want the best finish possible there. And it is Easter Sunday right now. And normally I would have a video out on, every year I try to remember to do this, and it just completely slipped. But Josie and I make a cross for Easter. And I got a video out there. I'm not making a cross every single Easter when I can just keep resharing that video, so I'm going to plug it in here. You want to see that? It's pretty cool cross. Pretty heavy too. Looks like it's going to rain. So we got squares we got to knock out. I'm going to go ahead and pour 6 of these just to get a couple in stock. The hats are ordered, guys. They should be here April the 1st. And once they hit the floor, I'll update the website. Now, I didn't get that many. I don't have $3,000 to fork out on merchandise right now. And hats aren't cheap. So I'm having to buy them in small quantities and list them. And because we've got other things, we have consumables and fuel and everything else that have to be paid for in order to keep this business going. Humidity is high out here. It's sticking to my mallet. Let me torch that. Much better. What happens is, if the wood on the mallet gets wet, or anything you use for that matter to round sand with, I know a lot of people like to use aluminum, they condensate wood sweats, and what happens is when you get ready to when you're ramming the sand, it grabs the sand, and even though you've just rammed it down, it pulls it right back up, which it defeats the purpose of even ramming the mold. But if you go ahead and torch it and dry the moisture out, you won't have that problem. And I didn't torch the butt, so let me do that. After I get this done, I got to get back on straight edges along with some other jobs that we're patiently waiting on. It's not what I wanted. This side released good, so that'll work. I don't know if I told y'all, but the exhaust fan, it creates a tornado in here, so I can't crank it up. I would really like to right now because I'm getting sweaty. See that little ridge of sand? Let's get rid of that. And now we're going to vent this. I try to keep it right in the corner. It makes it easier to grind them and clean them up. I'll set this out of the way temporarily. Bring this one over. Go ahead and torch it. Well, this, my friends, is a cane mill knife that was sent to me by Mr. Glenn Watts out of Louisiana. Now, Mr. Watts did a good job making the pattern. And I have cast these before for another customer that sent me an actual cane mill knife instead of a pattern. And it took a little reverse engineering to pull that one off because the guy also wanted it wider than the actual casting was that we were using for the pattern. So with that said, I ended up having to dig out, and he had to grind it to shape to match the contour that it was, or the interface it was going in. I won't have to do that with this one. The guy already went ahead and made additional stock, so this is going to pull nice and clean. And I think we're going to be able to do this in our smaller flask if we turn it diagonally. I like that. Yep. We'll start off with this side and let's dust it good. The humidity is high today, so there's a good chance that this pattern has humidity on it. And all that's for is to isolate the moisture on the pattern from the sand, because if you don't do this, it's nothing to do with the finish, but it's got everything to do with how it releases. And if it's going to stick to the sand, it's going to pull plugs with it. We don't want that. Alrighty. So our parting line, the transition of that is going to be right here. I'm just making a little bit of a cove with my thumb there. Try to give it a little bit of a gradual bank, but let's see. There we go. The same thing here. Probably could have added a little more moisture to the sand, but this will be just fine. Yeah. Very little room here, so I'm trying to That'll work. All right. Come on. Come on. There we go. Trying to keep that to a minimum, but I ain't worried about that. Well, this is some of the squares that are already ground, ready to go in the kiln. I gotta finish grinding those before I crank this up, but this is gonna get that stress relieved with the rest of the and get this on to its customer. But anyway, that job's done. For those who have been asking about the Windy Hill Foundry hats, these are now available on my website, windyhillfoundry.com, under stores, or you can click on the above link. These are on the pricey side, but keep in mind the shipping is included. Have a good day.